Hey boys and girls, Jim here. We're going to do something a little bit different today, something actually I've never done before. We're going to experience something special together. I've not opened these. I know what's in there. I don't know which one's in which case. So that's going to be a little bit special. But the other special thing is these are not my knives. I was very fortunate to have made fast friends with someone who many of us know as, has been just referred to as the Bob. And most of you know who that is just by saying that. And he has a collection that would probably make your eyes bleed if you saw it all at once. I think it's kind of like looking at the face of God. I think you wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to take it all in all at once. But Bob and I were talking one night, and we just kind of got to know each other super fast. It was actually kind of cool. And we're, just kind of bullshitting around one night, 3-4 hours. And it was only about an hour and a half into that I realized, oh, this is that Bob. And I didn't realize that. I hadn't made that connection until we really started talking knives. And it just kind of dawned on me. I'm like, oh, crap. Well, this is that Bob that, you hear Tough Thumbs talk about, and Gavco and a few other guys. And I feel very fortunate to have made his acquaintance. And we were kind of talking about a few different knives. And there were two in particular we were discussing, two of his favorite knives, to his favorite manufacturers. I should say makers, not manufacturers. And he says, have you ever had a chance to fondle any of those? I said, no. I said, we don't really have any custom knife places down here, stores or whatnot, down here in Miami to really play with stuff. He says, oh, I'm gonna send a couple to you. I want you to take a look at them. Tell me what you think. And one in particular, and I wish I knew which one was which in here, that I'm really excited about, is an R.J. Martin. So, because I've had a lot of people tell me, especially on the video I did about flippers, that until I've handled and flipped an R.J. Martin, that I haven't experienced a real flipper. So let's get these open. We're going to start with this one. Ooh, it's easy to tell by the pocket clip on this what this is. This is a Jeff Vandermuelen. This is I believe he said it was the intro, Jeff Vandermuelen Intro. And the reason why I say that about the clip is Vandermuelen, from what I understand and from what Bob told me, is very, 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 very close friends with Jeremy Marsh. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, he actually learned a lot of knife making from Jeremy Marsh. So a little bit of inspiration with this kind of organic flowing clip can be seen in there. So I'm not going to open that yet. And this is so cool because we're experiencing this together. I've not touched these at all. All I did was open the outer box. So this one is going to be the R.J. Martin Q36. Oh, you have to excuse me while I geek out for a minute here. This is really, 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 really nice. And from what Bob told me, this is one of the very few that was made with this special Damascus pocket clip on here too. That's a really chunky knife. That's thicker and chunkier than I expected. So let's get these bad boys kind of set up side by side. One of the things that I see immediately that I like about this, they both are kind of on that dark path. They're not flashy, they're not polished and bright and pretty. They really kind of have a tough look about them. Oh my God, that's massive. I want to do a comparison here. Let me see how thick that is compared to my Direware. Oh wow. That is very, very close, at least up here to the Direware. Then it gets noticeably thicker. Look how those carbon fiber scales have been contoured and shaped so they're much thicker back here, and they get slimmer toward the middle of the knife. Wow. The attention to detail is amazing. And from what I understand, the Vandermuelens are not tremendously expensive. I would expect this one to be because it's a Damascus. But, I mean, I've seen a lot of them going in that $450 to $600 price range, which in a true all-hand-built custom knife is not expensive. Yes, it's still a lot of money. I'm not trying to downplay that. But for the quality, oh, this is just gorgeous. The money is not that bad. So as far as the flipping action goes, not bad. I wouldn't go apeshit over it. But then again, and one thing to make clear, Bob is not your typical type of collector. He really does carry and use his knives. I don't know what his routine is on maintenance and lubing and whatnot. That feels really nice in the hand. Let's get a couple of close-up shots of each before I start super geeking out on them. It is a beautiful Damascus blade. Very, very, very nicely done. So you see your bolster here is done in a very smooth blasted titanium. I love this contour here. And this had to be tricky to do, to bring this back and to meet it up with the carbon fiber. And it is virtually seamless. There really is no real detectable difference in the height between the two materials. This is a very heavy knife, by the way, in my hand. So you've got a ginormous titanium backspacer set in between these two slabs of titanium. Then you have the titanium bolsters done over that. Then on the back half, you have obviously the carbon fiber scales, nicely contoured all the way around. Work on the focus here. Nice clean carbon fiber work. Nice lockup on that. A little bit, that's like 50% lockup, but it seems to be, you know, pretty darn, oh yeah, that's just rock solid, which is to be expected. Wow. This is a beautiful blade. I love the grind. Love the blade. That is just gorgeous. This is kind of stunning. It's almost like I don't want to talk. I just want to sit here and stare at the beauty of the knife. Oh, what does it say inside of the backspacer here? So I guess he signs each one. Intro, Jeff Vandermuelen, September of 2012. That's a nice touch. That really gives you a sense of this is a special knife. All right, so we're going to come back to that in a moment, but I really want to get to this. R.J. Martin. Now, I have never fired an R.J. Martin. Oh, wow, look at that. Lightning strike carbon fiber on both sides, but I didn't expect the backspacer to be done in lightning strike as well. Very, very cool. Look how perfectly this is done from the titanium into the carbon fiber. Beautiful Damascus clip. As you see, it's got a Damascus blade. Very, very, very dark acid wash on the titanium. It gives you a nice two-tone contrast to the titanium frame that's on there. All right, so I guess this is the moment of truth, right? What the shit? Really? Hold on a second. No, that's not an automatic. Hold on a second. Get the hell out of here. I feel like if I farted hard in the same room that this knife was sitting in, that it would fire all the way open. All right, I'm trying to just barely nudge it just to where it would partially open, and I can't do it. That's insane. Wait, hold on a second. My best flipper to date. There is a noticeable difference. Wow. Still love how my two there flip, but this is on another level. Now, is this bearings or washers, or it's gotta be bearings. There's no way, I don't care how talented you are not gonna make a knife flip like that on washers. Holy shit. All right, color me impressed. So you have a clad blade here. So you have kind of a Sanmai style blade with a Damascus coming over. I don't know what steel this is for the core, but he did a beautiful job on that Sanmai. That is really nice. Nice prominent recurve. I'm one of the few that really appreciates a fine recurve. No, I don't appreciate having to strop or sharpen one. But then again, I'm not a knife maker that has to worry about sharpening my knives all the time. I just love the look of a recurve, and I like the practicality of it. When you're cutting into something and you've got that level in there, it's automatically pushing this huge belly further into the material that you're cutting into. And I just, oh, wow, that's insanely sharp. I'm not going to do anything even that would come even somewhat close to being abusive. I'm not going to cut anything with these. These are not my knives to do those things with. Ow. That's sharper than I expected. I am operating here on the generosity of Bob, who sent this out to me to let me play with. Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of sucks. I just bought a couple of other knives. I've got an Allen Foltz Inertia on the way, and I finally scored a repeat deal on that Quayback. I kind of wish I hadn't, because I would tell you right now, I'd be on the search right now for an R.J. Martin. That's stunning. That's breathtaking. Listen to that lockup too. Let me get this closer to the microphone. It's like two tanks colliding in the middle of the street. That's insane. Ergonomics are fantastic. Feels nice and solid. It's a lot thicker than I would have expected from the pictures that Bob sent me. Jimping is wonderful. It's not rough. It's not digging into my thumb, but I feel like I've got a nice solid purchase. The notch out here, the choil here, is really nicely done. Yeah, wow, you can go forward on it because the lead-in on the edge is not sharpened there, so you can actually choke up on the blade. If I had a slightly fatter finger, I might have an issue there. And as expected from a hand-built custom, I mean, everything is rock solid, lined up perfectly. Wow. All right, I gotta put that down for a minute before I have some sort of knife-gasm. So yeah, going back to the Vandermuelen, from what I understand, you can actually still order from Vandermuelen. His books may or may not be open, but I think they might be. It's a nice, solid, thick feel in the hand. That is quite the big knife. I'm not going to go flipping it all fancy like I do with my knives. I'd cry if I dropped somebody else's Damascus blade knife. It feels nice in either direction. I'm trying to get a feel for that pocket clip. It's not very obtrusive. I thought it might be, because it does stick out quite a bit. But yeah, even gripping way down on it, no issues there. It has a nice fluid feel to it. Oh, I didn't realize that blade shape. Look at that. Look how that comes up. Almost a Persian style. Not quite. I would definitely call that a unique blade shape. I don't really know that you could categorize that as really anything. That's nice. Let me put my ghetto collection away. Oh my goodness. See now, Bob, you've ruined me. And I think in the back of your mind you knew that was going to happen. And I think you were probably laughing. Laughing the entire time you boxed these up and went, ha 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 ha. Yeah, so I guess I'm going to have to be on the search for an R.J. Martin for certain. And you know what? I would do something a little bit different than this, but I really like this Vandermuelen. Now I get what Bob was saying about how much he really likes this maker, how much quality is built in there. I'm not going to try to fathom a guess as to what this might sell for in the Damascus, but I would have to say it's still going to be less expensive than many of the other big makers and even some of the very popular up-and-coming makers, because, you know, this is a maker I didn't know anything about. I had maybe seen the name once or twice on other dealers' websites, but it may have just been one of the ones I glossed over. But I never really remembered having any conversations about this particular maker. And I am very impressed with the overall presentation, the quality, and the feel of that knife. It's just kind of living in the shadow right now of this Martin. How gorgeous is that? Now, some people like lightning strike carbon fiber, some people don't. And I understand that you can actually feel some of the copper wire coming up out of there. And I know some makers that will not work with it. I actually talked with Mikkel about making me a couple of knives, and one of them I wanted lightning strike. He's like, I'll do it for you, because I'm not the kind of guy to say no, but I'm really not a fan of working with that stuff. And now I see why that wire just really, really pops out. Beautiful clip on there. Wow. So this wasn't really meant to be a review or anything of the like. I just wanted to have the opportunity to share with you how I feel about these from the very second I opened them up and played with them for the very first time. These are exceptionally made. I think the feel in the hand, the balance, the weight, the materials that are being used, the way that they're being integrated together, again, especially here with the titanium frame, titanium backspacer, titanium bolsters, then carbon fiber. The way all this was done is nearly, it's almost undetectable that these are different materials if you were to close your eyes and just rub your hand over it. Beautiful examples of what custom knives should be. And, when we go on our quests for our grails, and sometimes we really don't know, we'll see something that we like, and we've got to hope that it's going to impress us as much in person as it did when we placed that order based off of 1, 3, or 5 pictures on the internet, either from a dealer's website or from a private party sale. You've got to hope it's going to impress you for the amount of money that you're spending or what you may be giving up in trade, and that you're going to like it as much as the pictures. And I can tell you, Bob is not a world-class photographer. He's a world-class guy, but the pictures he sent me, he's like, my pictures aren't all that great. They don't do these knives justice. I think you'll be wowed when you see them. And yeah, these certainly lived up to and actually exceeded the expectations that I had. Especially at R.J. Martin. I just can't get that out of my head. And that's not to put down the Vandermuelen. That is an exceptional knife. I would be, proud to have that in my collection. But this is one, and I think the only change I would make would be the lightning strike. I think if I were to order one, I would go a different route, only because of the way that they tend to feel over time. And that's fine, because the rest of this knife is so exceptional. The fit and finish is remarkable. And I really did have to stop and see if this was a spring assist or an automatic, because that is ungodly. No knife should be able to open that fast, being just a regular old manual flipper. And the thing is, it's not out of control smooth. It doesn't just, whip straight down like when my Greg Lightfoot, when you get it past that original detent, it'll just fall flat on your fingers. This isn't like that. It's about the detent. This is probably the most perfect detent I've ever felt. It's not so hard that it's actually uncomfortable on your flipping finger. And I've had knives like that where the maker tried to make it a really good flipper, so they put a crazy strong detent on it so that when you finally broke the detent, it would fly open. This does not feel like that, and I'm having a hard time putting it into words. It is a flawless detent. It's noticeable, it's there, but there is nothing cumbersome about it. There's nothing that you feel that you have to overcome. And I don't care how you do this, if you just rock it or you push down on it, you get the same result. And I wouldn't put any wrist action in somebody else's knife. That's not my place to do something like that. But I don't have to. I mean, you barely touch that. It's almost like you're flipping a trigger, and that's not attached to the blade. You're actually pulling a trigger, and something else is making the blade fly out. So I don't recall who it was. I'm sure whomever it was will certainly chime into the comments here. But on one of my previous videos, they had made mention of R.J. Martin and said that I just will never understand what a true flipper is until I've handled a Martin. And you know what? You were flat out right. So again, my heartfelt thanks to Bob for trusting me with 2 very expensive hand-built customs that if I was some kind of psychopath, and he doesn't know, we've never had a chance to meet, he'd have no way to replace them exactly, because these were made specifically in this configuration as a one-off. I'm going to very gently and carefully repackage these tomorrow and get them sent back out. But I got to tell you, I will now certainly be keeping my eyes open for an R.J. Martin. I'm at the point right now where I'm cooling off. I'm going to stop buying for probably about 3 or 4 weeks at this point because I have so much stuff coming in and I've outlaid a hell of a lot of money. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a cooling off period, but I can see myself when I'm ready to jump back into it. I think it's going to have to be an R.J. Martin. Very impressed. Very, very slick. Bob, thank you again. I can't thank you enough. I know I've said it 20 times, but that's a great deal of trust for somebody to put into, essentially a complete stranger. Just to say, hey, you want to play with a couple of cool knives? I'll send them out to you. So, wow. Look at this. Look at the contouring, the shaping of that carbon fiber. And that's why it feels the way that it feels. I mean, this is organic. It just flows right into the hand. Fantastic work, fantastic. So, Bob, yeah, thanks. You've spoiled me, you've ruined me, and now I'm going to have to buy an R.J. Martin, or wait till you get bored with this one and sell that one. Anyway, I'm going to cut it off here. I didn't expect to go on nearly this long, but I'm flabbergasted. I'm almost without words. And to all of you that said I should try it, well, I did, and you were right. And not that I ever said you were wrong, but yeah, man, you were right. Thanks a lot, guys.